Way, you will note that the CEO has distributed a slight change to the attachment for the ballot rules based on our discussions most recently. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, councillors. Good afternoon, those that are watching online, and good afternoon to the candidates who are in the room, the mezzanine room, or in the annex of City Hall at the moment, watching. And thank you all wholeheartedly from all of council colleagues here, from all of our councillors. Thank you for each and every one of you for putting yourselves forward for this vacant position on Toowoomba Regional Council until the next quadrennial election, March 16, 2024. Can I begin by acknowledging the Aboriginal parties whose songlines traverse these lands we meet on today, the Western Waka Waka, Guyabal and Jarrawa peoples, and pay respects to their elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the knowledge, rich traditions and bold ambitions of Australia's first people. Now, councillors, we move then to item number 2, and acknowledging the CEO here this afternoon and others present to take part in the room this afternoon. Can I move to item number 2, which is attendance, including apologies? There are no apologies. Councillors, being that it is a special meeting of council, you have the opportunity to request a leave of absence. Is there any leave of absence requested, councillors? If not, councillors, we move then to the declarations of conflict of interest. And I call for declarations of conflict of interest. Do we have any conflicts or perceived conflicts that might be something that councillors might like to raise? Councillor Nancy Summerfield.
Councillor Jeff, I don't believe I have any conflicts of interest, but I do want it on the record, a number of things, please. Number one, I have received a text message from somebody I know on my personal phone suggesting I vote for someone, which I ignored. I received a phone message on my work phone saying, from one of the candidates saying, I know you can't talk about the actual election, but I wondered if you could elaborate on what it is like to be a councillor. I returned that call because it was my work phone, and I made the following comment that it is very much more than just a full-time job. There is a lot of weekend work and there is a lot of reading. Please don't contact me further. And that's the only things I've had. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Nancy. So would it be fair to say, and under the rules, we cannot talk to a candidate about pledging support to any candidate or someone spoken? It's fair to say that that didn't occur? Absolutely not. I definitely didn't pledge support to anyone. Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Nancy. So, councillors, I don't see there's any need in which we need to go any further with that. I'm open for suggestions if otherwise. If not, Wendy, could you make a notation of that in any respect? Councillor Rebecca.
Thank you, Mayor. Similarly, I too received phone calls from candidates, and we had received legal advice, and in line with that legal advice I did not pledge my support to any of the candidates.
Thank you, Councillor Rebecca. Councillors, are there any other declarations that anyone would like to make at this point? If there's no further declarations, and we'll make note of those, Wendy, in any respect. We move then to item number 3, councillors, which is in 4 parts, in fact, and we'll work through each one of those as the afternoon goes forward. The first of which is a motion that council conduct a confidential ballot in accordance with the ballot rules in attachment 1. Now, councillors, you will note you've just received a revised attachment 1 for the ballot rules to determine its preferred candidate to be appointed to fill the vacant councillor office. Councillors, the updated version, for brevity, is simply that, and I refer to, if you wouldn't mind, to item number 8.6, in fact 8.5 and 8.6. The ballot shall be conducted on a combined first past the post and preferential voting system as detailed in the rules. The voters shall vote by marking up to 2 squares, councillors, 2 squares opposite the names of the candidates with the numbers 1, 2 in order of preference on the ballot paper. 8.6, the returning officer shall determine the successful candidate by observing the procedure set out below. The first step is to check each ballot paper is formal. This means, and this is optional, preferential, councillors, optional preferential. So you can vote one alone or one and two. The first step is to check the ballot papers are formal, okay? Now, each ballot paper, a ballot paper marked will be formal when it contains either A, a 1, or B, a 1 and 2. The returning officer will then allocate the preferences 1 and 2, if required, from each ballot paper to each selected candidates. The candidate with 6 or more first preference votes will be the preferred candidate. If no candidate has at least 6 votes, the returning officer will proceed to tally the second preference votes to the first preference votes for all candidates, at which point then we'll follow suit, and that will be up to the chair and the councillors as to determine what we do following from that. Councillor Rebecca, question?
Thank you, Mayor. Given what we've just discussed, I suggest the insertion of the word optional in section 8.5 so that the first sentence would read, the ballot shall be conducted under a combined first past the post and optional preferential voting system as detailed in these rules.
Thanks, Councillor Rebecca. It's good, and terrific. Councillors, with that notation taking place, could I have someone move that recommendation 1, that council conducted confidential ballot in accordance with ballot rules in attachment 1, which this will be replaced on the document, to determine its preferred candidate to be appointed to fill the vacant councillor office. Question, Councillor Rebecca?
Thank you, Mayor, for your indulgence. Through you to the CEO, could we confirm the procedure with what will happen with the ballots after the election?
Usually under the Electoral Act, they're allowed to destroy the voting ballots information. This isn't a formal election process, so we're bound by Council's current Local Government Act and Information Acts that require us to retain records, so we have to retain those. Having said that, the actual completed ballots, the actual information that comes out, that will be available because people will be able to look and listen to that broadcast today. And there's no identifying marks on any of the ballot papers to identify who actually voted in which way.
Thanks, CEOs. Can I have a mover, moved by Councillor Melissa, seconded by Councillor Carol Taylor? If you'd like to go into debate, we can certainly do that. So, Councillor Melissa, would you like to talk to this motion?
I'll reserve my right. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Melissa. Councillor Tim against the motion.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. We put 1 to 4 on this. We had that done. We had practices. We had briefings in this chamber. This was how it was going to be done. 1 to 4. We've gone out to the public saying that's what we're going to do, 1 to 4. Then we come to work, and at the 11th hour, we decide, oh, hang on, we want a different system. And I think it confuses everything. I think the community was expecting it one way, and then we go and change this right before we're about to start. And I don't see that as good governance, and I don't see that as proper transparency. So I'm going to speak against this recommendation 1. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Tim. You've spoken against. Speaker in favour of the motion? No speaker in favour. Councillor Melissa, would you like to sum up, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't believe there is an issue with this from a point of view that there's not a huge difference between 1 to 4 and 1 to 2, and I think in the governance of, or the transparency of expediting the vote and ensuring that we get the best result, I believe this is the best way forward.
Thanks, Councillor Melissa. We'll go to the vote, councillors. Those in favour of what's before us, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 votes. Those against? 7-3. The motion is 1. Therefore, it's as per we've moved. Councillors, let's move then to recommendation number 2, which is to suspend standing orders for the period of recommendation number 3. Moved by Councillor Rebecca. A second for that motion. Second by Councillor Bill. Those in favour? That motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, we move to number 3, recommendation number 3, which is the substantive reason of why we're here today. And I mentioned from the outset thanking all of those nominees for putting themselves forward, and there too, those people that are around them as well. Their family, friends and colleagues have supported them to get to that point in time. I would like to just set some rules of play for this afternoon so that everyone's clear, media and nominees particularly, clear on how the process will proceed from here. We have ballot papers which will be distributed if they're not already. Okay, well, we'll have ballot papers distributed now by the CEO, and CEO will distribute those ballot papers. Councillors, the reason we're distributing those right now is because we need to know exactly who's presenting as a nominee. Each nominee will get 2 minutes to speak. At the 1 minute 30 mark, nominees, this is very, very important. At the 1 minute 30 mark, there will be one hit of the gavel, which will sound something like that. At the 2 minute mark, there'll be 2 hits of the gavel, like that. At that point, anything said after that stage is not counted as part of a presentation. From the first word that is spoken by each nominee, the time will start. The first word that is spoken. So use your time wisely. That's very important. The reason we're doing this, nominees and those watching, is particularly because this simulates what happens when we move into an election proper, which will take place in the not too distant future. I just wanted to say another little thing before we get started, and that is that we are under the Local Government Act to carry out this process, to actually appoint someone from the community within 2 months of the resignation of a councillor, because we're in 12 months of the next election. That's our obligation under the Act. The process we're going through now is a process that councillors have agreed upon to make sure it's as fair and transparent as we can for each of the candidates and the community. That's the process we've landed on. The final outcome, which is recommendation 4, will be that candidate that receives the maximum of votes, the majority of the votes by way of numbers in the room, so 6 or above, will then be inserted into the recommendation, and they would become the councillor for the remainder of this term. That's our obligation. How we get to that point is what we've agreed upon, and I thank councillors for getting to this stage. So that's very important. I will invite each candidate to come forward. They are in the next room, and they'll, obviously through the lack of space, it's why they're in the mezzanine room with other members of their support crew, I would imagine. The CEO will act as the returning officer. Brendan Steinhardt is the scrutineer. Brendan, thank you for doing this for us. And Michael Duff will assist the returning officer to tally the votes. So thank you, Michael, for doing that. Ballot papers have been distributed to councillors. Counting will begin when all ballot papers are completed and returned in the ballot box. Where's the ballot box? This is fantastic. There's the ballot box. The ballot box is ready. Okay. The returning officer, the CEO, to advise of the successful candidate with the first preference, etc., as we go, as we've said before. So, councillors, are there any questions in regard to the process? Councillor Shine.
Just inquiring as to how many candidates will be speaking this afternoon.
Well, Councillor Shine, it's not compulsory for each candidate to speak. We've got a couple of videos. We've got 3 videos, in fact, that will be played. And again, the same rules apply. At 2 minutes, the video stops. And Wendy's got those instructions. So everything is clear. As far as candidates wishing to speak, though, Councillor Shine, it is the prerogative of those candidates. If a candidate is called and they prefer not to speak, that's their prerogative. So I can't give you a definitive answer as to how many will be speaking. Are there any other questions, councillors, in regard to the process? If there's no other questions, councillors, are we all ready to proceed? All ready to proceed? Wendy, you're on. Brian? Okay. Our first speaker, our first nominee candidate, can you please welcome Alyssa Parker. Now, Alyssa, we'll give you the availability just to check the microphone and what have you before we start. And then as soon as you commence your speaking, we shall commence the timepiece and we'll be ready to go. So a very warm welcome to you, Alyssa. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I acknowledge that we are here today on the land of the Jagera, Gayabul and Jarowair people and whose sovereignty was never ceded. Thank you for the opportunity to stand as a councillor nominee, and I wish all the candidates the best of luck. My name is Alyssa Parker, and you may have seen me, found one of my petitions, or read one of my write-ups advocating for affordable housing options here on the Darling Downs and promoting community safety initiatives. I live in the regional community of Oakey, so I understand the importance of infrastructure, transport options and services for all, especially those west of our city limits. As representatives, we must ensure all demographics have a voice and seat at the table, and many here today will share the importance of developing a strong local economy, resource management like water security and habitat protection. Nevertheless, at the grassroots level, every resident must be encouraged to utilise existing crime prevention programs to increase safety of their neighbourhoods. And local government must provide safe, healthy spaces and places, which is a concept I previously introduced to a council community meeting back in Oakey 2014. In line with this, we must work towards increasing outreach for social service programs, such as food assist and domestic and family violence supports, and create more affordable housing options. This means the local government must ensure that there are sufficient land and incentives available for the development of diverse housing options, especially for the most vulnerable. We are being surpassed by Maryborough, Moreton Bay, Gympie, Canberra and Western Australian councils through their innovation of social and affordable housing. I support the Queensland Government's 2023 Planning Amendment Bill for the inclusionary zoning strategy.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. Thank you very much indeed, and thank you too for putting yourself forward. Thank you. Our next candidate, councillors, is Douglas Dowell. Douglas, as you come forward, in case you hadn't heard, come forward please, Douglas, and to the speaking area. Unless you hadn't heard, you'll get a one hit of the hammer at 1 minute 30 and two at the 2 minute mark. So welcome to you, Douglas. Once you begin, we'll begin timing.
Yeah, the reason I want to be a councillor is because I just want to try and help better the place. And, I don't know, just like everyone else, they're passionate about the city, which is city and region. And that's pretty much all, really. You know what I'm like for speeches.
Thank you very much, Douglas.
Okay.
I do appreciate it. Thank you, Douglas, for putting yourself forward again. We do appreciate that. Just to wait for the next candidate to come forward. Good afternoon, Kirsty. Just to give you a brief, you'll get one hammer at 1 minute 30 and two at 2 minutes. Okay. And the time will start once you start speaking. Thank you.
Mayor McDonald, councillors, in addition to my resume, I have studied the Local Government Act and believe I have the qualifications vital for this role. I've been working in the community for many years as a nurse, an educator, a volunteer and community advocate, promoting water security, fast rail and housing, amongst others. My TLC for TRC page promotes over 1,200 local businesses with 8,000 members. Currently, as a clinic nurse for Darling Downs ENT and with Downs Nursing Agency, I work closely with hundreds of people on a weekly basis, working in Toowoomba, Millmerran, Clifton, Oakey and more, hearing issues and caring for this community.
Every role I have chosen to pursue involves effective teamwork, ensuring best decisions are made for the betterment of the community. This is something that I aspire to. In my health work, being a cohesive team member can literally save people's lives, and I do not underestimate the importance of teamwork. My ability to communicate is my power, allowing me to listen and engage effectively in all situations. Post-federal election survey results showed my strength as being relatable to the electorate, and this gave me the courage to continue my role in public advocacy. I love learning, and I am completing a law degree to apply to my health and community work. I'm currently researching roles local governments can play in primary healthcare, and I find it fascinating. I work full-time, I study part-time, I campaign in my spare time. I have the vitality and commitment, experience and ability to hit the ground running, make a meaningful contribution, and enable Council's corporate plan in the next 6 months, with a commitment to endeavour to continue this role next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kirsty. 1 minute 58. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Thank you. Appreciate it. Can we now welcome Irene to come forward? Irene, again, if you hadn't heard from your first speak, I will start the tape, start the timer, and you'll get one gavel at the 1 minute 30 and 2 at the 2 minute mark. So when you're ready to go. Thanks.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Irina Cobalt. I'm a teacher, a published author, and a bioartist. I'm also a mother and a grandmother. All my life, I have been curious about other people, their languages and cultures. This curiosity has led me to leave my picturesque Austrian mountain village and explore living and working in many different places such as Vienna, Moscow, and Paris before coming to Australia. I have, however, also lived in Tennant Creek and some very remote Indigenous communities for 10 years and 1 week, providing me with priceless insights into issues concerning Indigenous people. For the last 5 years, though, I've been living right here in Toowoomba, which I now consider home. My curiosity has always been paired with creativity. This combination has led me to produce a little book which was inspired by events right here in Toowoomba. This book, called My Two Blankets, provides a literary insight in the process of learning a new language and forging a new identity. Translated into 18 languages, endowed with several prizes and awards, the story is not just used in Australian schools, but also in the US and Europe to teach about compassion, understanding, and tolerance. To develop compassion, understanding, and tolerance, a sound language basis is essential. Enabling new arrivals to reach their educational potential, especially to acquire a high level of English, is fundamental. Only with effective language skills can a person successfully build a new identity in a new country and community. Building an inclusive and multicultural community through language and communication constitutes only one of my objectives as a potential member of Toowoomba Regional Council. I'd love to have a go at this. Thank you for listening.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Irene. 1 minute 55 for your record. You were looking over at me. Thank you, Irene. Thank you very much. David, if you'd like to come forward. Again, David, if you didn't hear, you'll get one gavel at the 1 minute 30 mark and 2 at the 2 minutes, and the time will start when you start speaking at the lectern. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed councillors. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I stand before you today not as an independent candidate, but as a dedicated community member who believes in Toowoomba's potential. I believe that I am capable of serving the council because of my main focus areas, which are pastoral, agriculture, logistics, and academia. I'm confident in my ability to contribute meaningfully to the council due to the focus on the critical areas vital to our regional prosperity. In pastoral development, I've dedicated much of my life to understanding the role of livestock and that within our farming community. Agriculture, beyond farming, includes nurturing our land, and I have a deep knowledge of crops, wheat, barley, chickpeas and cotton. With over 2 decades in logistics, I've contributed to the efficient transport of goods critical to our economy. At the moment, in academia, I specialised in tutoring academic English and teaching English as a second language. And I believe in fostering progress through education. These 4 areas form the core of the Toowoomba Regional Council economic fabric and lifestyle. I am submitting myself for consideration as an interim councillor, eager to contribute to the region's growth. In conclusion, thank you for your time. Your dedication to Toowoomba and the region is commendable, and I wish you success in guiding our region towards a brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, David. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Councillors, our next nominee is Mr. Brett Mullen. You come forward, Brett. Again, Brett, you will hear an audible sound at 1 minute 30 and then 2 at 2 minutes, and your time starts when you start speaking.
When things fail. Good afternoon, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, councillors, candidates and guests. I believe that I'm the right person today. Firstly and most importantly, you need to get to know me. I call Toowoomba my home. We moved here 18 years ago, my wife and my family. We're now 4 children and 2 grandchildren, and we love this region, its diversity, its culture, and the people in it. Who am I? I'm entrepreneurial, I'm innovative, I've got solutions. I believe in myself, I believe in others. I love learning, I'm a quick learner. And my leadership is very relational in style. I'm a husband, a father, a grandpa, a mentor, and a friend to all as well. I've loved giving my time to charities in Toowoomba and this region for the years as people matter to me. I've been involved for 30 years in management, serving in various positions as CEO, CFO and Managing Director. Over 15 years in governance, Director, Chairman, Secretary. This has been in small businesses to medium-sized enterprises, in the not-for-profit sector and the profit sector. I've always believed in a strong team and personally contributing to that team, both as a leader and a member. This will be no different if you elect me to serve our community. I do support the current initiatives, projects and plans that are in place for our region, and I will work tirelessly to address the issues as they arise. In summary, it would be an honour to serve and represent our region. I believe that I am this person, and I would like the opportunity to work with you as councillors and to build upon the work you have already done and continue to do so. I ask you, councillors, to give me your trust and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brett. Appreciate it. Our next nominee is Michaela Smith. I'd like to come forward, Michaela, and again, Michaela, so timing will start with your first words, so take time to settle in there. You'll hear 1 gavel knock at the 1 minute 30 and then 2 at the 2 minutes, which is the conclusion. So welcome again.
I believe I am the ideal candidate for the role of councillor, as I have an unwavering enthusiasm for our community. Born and raised in Toowoomba, my dedication to enhancing the quality of life for people in our region is something that I'm extremely committed to. As a devoted member of the Wellcam community for many years, I have tirelessly advocated for the betterment of our town. In the past year alone, I have worked cohesively with council, resulting in significant upgrades to local and regional roads. I am eager to continue this, working alongside council to bring further improvements to the region. As a local farmer, I am keenly aware of rural needs and aim to be a strong rural voice. Our region boasts incredible agricultural land that provides us with top quality produce and exceptional local restaurants that showcase this. It is my vision to harness these assets year round through collaborating with local producers and harness the support of council. Along with my husband, we have made the deliberate choice to raise our 3 children rurally, and we love that our small town fosters family and community. The concept of livability is at the core of my mission. Our rural areas often face service and funding cuts. Rural towns have voiced their need for a back-to-basics approach. I'm committed to rectifying fundamental issues such as dangerous floodways and improving road safety. As a councillor, I pledge to listen attentively to the voices of all residents, elected officials and experts, as well as work collaboratively with resilience and integrity. I've worked hard to gain the trust of the community and will continue to do so, and strongly believe in creating meaningful and impactful change to people's lives. I stand for honesty, transparency and openness as the cornerstone of accountable governance and trustworthy leadership. Thank you for your time, and I eagerly anticipate the opportunity to work hand in hand with you for the betterment of the region. Together, we can achieve great things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michaela. 1 minute 59. Just escaped the double gavel. Councillors, our next candidate on list is Douglas Allen. Welcome, Doug. Again, Doug, you'll hear one gavel at 1 minute 30 and two at 2 minutes, which is the conclusion. And that time will start when you start talking.
G'day, my name's Doug Allen. I assume you've read my bio, so I'd just like to have a bit of a chat about 3 key policy areas I'd be very keen on developing and focusing on if appointed as a councillor today. Those 3 areas being water security, infrastructure and strengthening our communities. So on water security, obviously we've had a few good years, but we're in an arid region. We're going to have this problem again of water scarcity. We often talk about the need for big infrastructure like dams and other water sources, state and federal government issues mostly. I believe as a council, we can help develop the business case for those expensive water provisions by developing industry that is water reliant that can afford to pay for that. You build the business case, you get that infrastructure done, and then the whole region will benefit. The second thing is infrastructure. Now, I'm not just necessarily talking about libraries, parks and toilets. As our region grows and develops in population, we need a long-term strategy to make sure that we're not going behind and our quality of living is not going backwards. We don't want congested roads. We need to make sure that the planning decisions we're making now are not going to hinder us in 30 years. We may need a light rail down Ruthven Street, and we need to make sure that our thinking and our frameworks that are in place now enable us to do that. The third thing that I'd like to discuss is strengthening our communities. Now, when I grew up in Kingsthorpe, I knew my neighbours. We'd go down to the Kingsthorpe Fair, we'd do the Billy Cart Derby at Gary Junction. Now, we don't do that anymore, or seemingly don't. I think as council, we can facilitate ways for community members to reinvigorate their communities, be they, we give them a pack. If you want to do a Billy Cart Derby, here's what you do. If you want to do a Christmas in July street party, here's the way to do it. We get people talking to each other, they know their neighbours, stronger communities, it's better for the region. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Doug. 156. Thank you, Doug. Our next speaker, our next nominee is Penelope or Penny Houlihan. Penny, if you'd like to come forward. Again, you'll hear one gavel at 1 minute 30 and two at the 2 minute mark. And your time starts when you start speaking. Welcome, Penny.
Good afternoon, councillors, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Penny Houlihan. I'm a long-term resident and an active member of this great region. I grew up in a small southwestern community of Dirranbandi. This country upbringing taught me life lessons and life values. I want to speak to you from my heart about my values and my visions for this region. I have believed all of my life in the power of hard work, in the importance of a good work ethic, in earning your keep and in making sure you give your best every day. I believe in the transformative power of education, that every child should be given the opportunity to a great education, which is reflected in my current role. I believe that we should show simple courtesy and respect to each other. I believe that we can move forward with confidence and that our best days lie in front of us and not behind us. Presently, we as a community are observing a disturbing rise in youth crime. This is an avenue that needs to be addressed. As a council, I realise there is only so much that we can do. Or is there? As the grassroots front line of government in our community, we need to be proactive and work with community groups in a view to looking for solutions. 20 years ago, I founded the Highfields and District Rugby League Football Club. I regard sport and recreation opportunities for young people as a way of creating a diversion to other extracurricular activities. This opportunity has seen many young people evolve and grow in society and across this great region of ours. In conclusion, in all of my life, I believed in work. I believed in the power of education. I believed that we show decency and respect to each other with care, concern and compassion. But I've also believed in something else, and that is that we should not be afraid of the future and that our best days of this region are in front of us, not behind us. I am an optimist and I am excited and hopeful about this region's great future. Thank you for giving me the opportunity today.
Thank you, Penny. Thank you very much. Our next presenter, councillors, is via video link, and the same rules will apply. So I guess I'm mentioning that for you, Wendy.
Hi, for those who don't know me, my name's Elizabeth Adams, and I am a candidate for the current vacancy within the Toowoomba Regional Council. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners on whose land we are meeting here today, to our elders past, present and emerging, pay my respects, and also to those who have gone before us to be able to give me the privilege to stand here and present to you today. To the Mayor, Deputy Mayor and fellow councillors, and the community, and those who are in the room present or maybe viewing via the link. I myself have been living in Toowoomba for the past 19 years. I ran in the last election in 2020. However, I was unsuccessful, but I'm very grateful for the support received from community. I believe I have the required skills and unique work experience to complement the current council. Having served for more than 20 years in the human services sector as both a director and a chief executive officer. This includes chairperson roles of advocacy bodies at local, regional, state and national levels. This includes developing and building a healthcare service across the Toowoomba region to meet the needs of our people and communities in aged, vulnerable, First Nations and young people. As a Chief Executive Officer, I've had to navigate many responsibilities from corporate governance obligations through to complex legislative and regulatory obligations in child protection, dental and primary health care. This will guide me well in understanding and adhering to the Local Government Act and the associated responsibilities and obligations of Council. If chosen to fulfil this vacancy on Council, I would like to assure you that you will be heard and you will be given a voice around the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Lizzie, in her absence.
Hi, for those who don't know me, my name's Elizabeth Adams and I am...
Wendy to... Thank you, Wendy. 1 minute 56. Thank you, Wendy. Councillors, our next nominee is Ekraj Adhikari. Ekraj, welcome to you. So Ekraj, as you're coming forward, just a reminder that the timing will start when you start speaking, so get yourself comfortable there, and you'll hear one gavel at 1 minute 30, and at the 2 minute mark you'll hear the second gavel, the two gavels, at which point you finish.
Sure.
Thanks, Ekraj.
Good afternoon. I'm Ekraj Adhikari. I consider myself as one of the proudest first generation Aussie living in Toowoomba. I'm proud of my culture, my community, and my unique accent, and proudly admire and pay respect to the cultures of this harmonious land I call home today. With countless dreams and aspirations, in 2020 I ran for council, a humble ambition of putting Toowoomba on top to have the first person of Nepalese origin in Australian local government history. No matter the result, my passion, my dedication, and unconditional love for embracing diversity and promoting connectivity in this region remained solid. Councillors play fundamental roles for progressive societies. I deeply admire your commitment to the thriving Toowoomba region. It's time we reflect on the composition of the team, what is missing, and what does Toowoomba society is truly seeking. For me, it's not about one community or one culture. It's not just about First Nations or First Generations. It is not about who received more votes or who got more experience. someone who narrowly missed out in 2020 may have better chances in 2024. Or anyone as dedicated and passionate as any of us can find themselves at the bottom of the list unless we receive an opportunity like this of fairness and bold decision. With heartfelt gratitude, I would like to implore you to welcome this golden opportunity. Imagine going back to your family, to your kids tonight, and telling them that today you seized the opportunity of giving opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ekraj. Our next nominee to come forward, please welcome Petrea Grabham. Thank you, Petrea, again. You'll hear one gavel at the 1 minute 30, two at the 2 minute mark, at which you'll finish. And the timing will start when you start talking. So take your time to get yourself comfortable and then we'll start.
Good afternoon, councillors, Mayor McDonald and all. Today I realise this is an interim role and I feel that that has to be expressed. I've had various interim roles with state and federal government and been able to produce an outcome within that time. I understand the budget and have been on boards before, understand how we have to work together closely. I'm very flexible, I do like to be heard as well. However, I'm able to respond to a need at the time that we can all work together towards the outcome of what we feel is necessary for our city and region. I believe with these roles that I've taken on, it's been an experience that I've been able to get with people. I work with the CALL community, the cultural and linguistically diverse people, and also our First Nations people. I run other groups as well, working at the moment under a federal government role. With these boards, I've been able to produce and start with the boards and produce very good governance with these boards and help young ones to produce what they need. And their responses to this is a learning process. So very big on young people. I've worked with the homeless as well. I have a little bit to do with the Toowoomba Hub, housing hub, and I believe with the homelessness there are some roles I can take within that. I have different focuses, but getting back to the interim, I believe it's really important to know where you stand. And yes, I would like to continue. However, in this role, I'm available to actually work forward to what's already been organised and look forward to the future of this region. And this region is what I love, and the people in it, I'm very human. I'd take this opportunity and really run with it. I'm a 7-day-a-week worker because I don't believe it's work. So thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Petrea. Very much indeed. 1 minute 53. Our next nominee is Robert Relvis. Robert, welcome to you. Again, Robert, your timing will start with your first words. You'll hear one gavel at 1 minute 30 and two at 2 minutes, which time you'll finish. So welcome to you, Robert.
Thank you for this opportunity. As I mentioned in my submission to this chamber, my strengths and experiences are bring a loyalty, respect, team player, shared knowledge, university educated, multilingual, honesty and integrity to the role of councillor. This community is unique and diverse, and I have chosen to be part of it, to be part of the great leap forward for our region and projects such as the Inland Rail, the Charlton Transit Hub, and preparing our community for the Olympic Games. In this day and age of technology and contracting out of jobs, I want to promote more jobs and future jobs staying in this community to enable realistic goals and more opportunities for the community, locals helping the locals. What we do here today will build on the foundations others before us have started, leaving our footprints for those who come after us to follow. Almost 80 years ago, what started with mothers, wives and daughters marching down the street with a single flower in memory of lost fathers, husbands, sons and brothers has evolved into what has become our signature event of the community and the cornerstone that once a year brings the whole community together with thousands of people from all corners of the country and beyond. The community is hurting once more. We have just come out of a 3-year pandemic and are now in an economic crisis. The community is hurting from small business owners, families with mortgage stress, pensioners are going without, single mums and dads to people living on the street. Add to this the increase in domestic violence, suicide, youth, crime, drugs and alcohol abuse, and the voice dividing the community. The community needs hope and prosperity with stability and growth for a brighter future. This is a time for community heroes. We will do what is hard. We will achieve what is great. This is a time for community heroes.
Thank you very much, Robert. Thank you very much indeed. The next nominee, councillors, is Edwina Farquhar. Edwina, welcome to you. And again, thank you for putting yourself forward. 1 minute 30, you'll hear one audible knock of the gavel, and at 2 minutes, you'll hear the second, two in a row.
Yep.
And your time starts when you start speaking. So get yourself comfortable, and when you're ready to go, away.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Deputy Mayor and councillors. I'm Edwina Farquhar and I'm a safe set of hands to help you through to the next election. I bring over 25 years of experience in marketing, communications, brand and project management. I've worked for not-for-profits, for publicly listed companies and large multinationals, both here in Australia and abroad. Experience in these companies means I'm comfortable in a boardroom, managing budgets, large projects and stakeholder engagement. I'm also comfortable engaging people at a grassroots level. My husband and I have owned and operated food-related businesses here in Toowoomba since 2011. Starting with Domino's Westridge, we've since created from scratch 3 local businesses, including the Finch, who together employ over 50 local people. We've won 2 Chamber of Commerce Business Excellence Awards, and I have a comprehensive understanding of issues affecting both our customers and our people. I volunteer at school and for Little Athletics and I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I recently sat on the Toowoomba Anglican School Foundation Board as Vice President, and as a mother of 3 school-aged children, I have a deep connection to the community. I grew up on a farm this side of Gundawindi and moved to Toowoomba when I was 10, so I also have a strong connection with the agricultural side of this region. I'm university educated with a Bachelor of Business Management, majoring in marketing from the University of Queensland. I'm an active cyclist, trail runner, and a member of the Road Runners, so I'm often out taking advantage of our parks, our roads, and our trail networks. By voting for me, you get a person who's passionate and invested in the region, a great communicator, and a team player. My agenda is solely to see the people of Toowoomba thrive in business, in education, in sport, and in quality of life. Given the short-term nature of this role, I plan to work with each of you to help fulfil existing projects and initiatives in the lead up to the round of the next elections. With me, councillors, you have a safe set of hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Edwina. 159.28. Just for those that are keeping check on things, you're very, very close. Thank you. Our next candidate is via video. Just hold on for a moment, please, Wendy, if you could just wait for a moment.
Hi, Michael Troskinger. Thank you for the opportunity to present to Council tonight.
Can we just stop that?
As a council, I work hard to serve the community to its fullest, working with the team to find ways to grow our economy and promote and support.
Our next nominee is via video link. Is Michael Troskinger. The timings will be the same. Wendy, the timings are for you. 1 minute 30, you'll hear one sound. At 2 minutes, you'll hear the second, at which time, cut the tape. Please welcome Michael.
Hi, Michael Troskinger. Thank you for the opportunity to present to Council today. As a council, I work hard to serve the community to its fullest, working with the team to find ways to grow our economy and promote and support the region's plan, knowing I can make a difference. I want to see our region continue to thrive in economy, security, environment, health and infrastructure. How can I contribute? My previous experience in national and regional corporate management, combined with the local business knowledge, will see me well in understanding the governance requirements and the future needs of our region, working with and volunteering a number of sporting, social and business organisations is proof of my desire to remain involved in helping to shape the region. As a keen advocate for the Toowoomba region, I will provide energy and enthusiasm with innovative ideas backed by a sound business mind and a sensible approach to management. I care deeply about our growing population, the happiness, health, safety and the prosperity of the region. I want to see us top the most desirable places to live, work and play. Who am I? I'm Michael Troskinger, independent business operator in the region for over 21 years, which many of you will acknowledge is no walk in the park, especially with big name competition. It takes stamina, the ability to adapt and innovate, acting with integrity, demonstrated with providing genuine service and respect to our customers. This is who I am. This is how I conduct myself personally and professionally. This is how I'll continue working for the region when I become councillor. Hi, Michael Troskinger.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. I know it's a bit tricky juggling between things here, so I do appreciate that. And we'll move then to our next nominee, councillors. The next nominee is Joyce Joy Mingay. Joy, welcome to you. Again, once you start speaking, the timing will start. You'll hear one gavel at 1 minute 30 and two at the 2 minute mark, which is the conclusion. So get yourself comfortable and then we'll start when you start.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, councillors. Thank you for the opportunity to nominate for the vacant councillor position. I believe that in the time since the last election, I've continued to demonstrate my commitment and passion for this community, supporting numerous local organisations in a voluntary capacity, including as a board member for Lifeline Darling Downs, Ability Enterprises and a recent appointment to the board of the Western Clydesdales. I was a board member and president of the Toowoomba Chamber of Commerce for a number of years and have continued on the judging panel of the Business Excellence Awards, which provides me with an insight to the needs and concerns of the Toowoomba business community. During my time as Chamber President, I served on the Advisory Committee, the Second Range Crossing and the Inland Rail, which has given me direct experience with both community and government engagement for the delivery of projects of this magnitude. Through my community roles, I've worked with and come to know a number of council officers and believe I have an understanding of the decision-making process of council. I've been a small business owner operating Classic Recruitment for more than 15 years. At the start of 2023, I sold the business, and so now more than ever can focus fully on the role if I was successful in my nomination for council. To further extend my expertise in the practice of good governance, I recently graduated from the Directors course offered by the Australian Institute of Company Directors. This has been invaluable in my board roles and would be of equal benefit in the role of councillor. I would note that at the conclusion of the 2020 local government elections, I finished 11th in the count against a large and very hard-fought field. I wasn't successful in winning a seat at that time, but I would like to think that it demonstrates the strong support I have from the community. I'd look forward to the opportunity to work and learn from all of you in the room, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Joy. Our next nominee is Scott McPhee. Scott, if you'd like to come forward, welcome, Scott. Again, thank you for nominating. Your timing will start when you start speaking, so make yourself comfortable, and you'll hear one gavel at 1 minute 30 and two at the 2 minute mark. Welcome, Scott.
Nice, thank you. Well, thanks for the opportunity to present to you today. I think everyone here knows that we're off the pace environmentally in our area. We don't have the kinds of protections that other councils in South East Queensland have. And it's a very difficult situation because, yes, we need our farms, we need our houses, but none of these things can exist without a functional environment around them. And it's a very complex problem, but at the moment, we can't even do the simple things right. We can't save a stand of old growth gum trees in a field that was already cleared in Reeses Road in Highfields. We can't protect the known koala corridor in Crow's Nest in Afra Street. After 4 years, key elements of the green infrastructure strategy aren't even implemented. And we're not even on the state government koala mapping at the moment for South East Queensland, for the koala plan for South East Queensland. And the koala mapping that we do have is really inaccurate. So what are we going to do about this? Now, I think what you need is someone who's deeply invested in the environment, but also sees the broader community perspective as well. So you want someone who is not an extremist, but someone who sees the middle ground and wants to bring people to it. Now, in my work at the moment, I work as a compliance officer for the federal government, and that means every day I'm giving difficult news to people, but I know how to do it in a way that's respectful and gets them on board, and I get to get them in a position where they can deal with it. And that's the kind of skill that I want to bring to the environment situation here and to the council. We're on the cusp of unprecedented growth here, and we've got one chance to get it right. And if we don't get it right, this place is going to be changed for the worse. So that's why I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks.
Our next nominee, councillors, is Daniel McCoy. Welcome, Daniel. Thanks again for nominating. You'll hear one gavel at the 1 minute 30 and two at the 2 minute mark at the conclusion. And your time will start when you start speaking. Daniel, so welcome.
Good afternoon. I've got a quite polished speech there, but I'm probably not going to use that, and I don't. Well, I'm born and bred in Toowoomba, local boy, Newtown State School, Downlands College. I've owned a pretty successful concrete construction business in Toowoomba. Got probably a dozen employees, all various walks of life. 50, 60 courses, accreditations I've done. Nearly finished my bachelor's degree in environmental science. So of a morning, obviously shovel concrete, talk to concreters. Of an afternoon, I'll talk to some of the biggest CEOs in Australia about sustainable construction. And yeah, we should really be pushing that in Toowoomba at the moment, especially out the western side of town. We're dropping the ball pretty bad there. Yeah, I was going to give a nice big speech, but that's it, guys. So.
Well, Daniel, thank you. Thank you again for putting yourself forward as well. Councillors, our next nominee is Philip Spencer. Philip, welcome to you, and again, thanks for nominating. As with all others, the timing will start when you start speaking, and you'll hear one gavel sound at the 1 minute 30 mark and two at the 2 minutes at conclusion. Thank you, Philip. Welcome again.
Having worked in local government for 38 years, I fully appreciate the devotion, commitment required to be a councillor. In my previous role, local government roles as Director of Finance, Deputy CEO, and CEO in 6 councils in 2 states, I've been both a leader and team member. The variety of projects during my local government career were at times stressful, rewarding and invigorating time of my life, requiring a level head, understanding, sympathy, empathy for all parties concerned to achieve the desired outcomes on time and within budget. Of course, the most challenging project was the forced amalgamation of the 8 councils into one. As the interim CEO, I could have not achieved this in the 5.5 months we were given by government. Without the dedication, hard work from my entire team, and I'd like to compliment once again all involved during this time of upheaval. I've lived in Toowoomba region for almost 18 years, and for the last 15 have been a partner in a small business and an apprentice farmer. We closed the business a few months ago, and I retired to look for new challenges, and given I don't have time constraints now. This later period of my working life has been a real learning experience and given me great understanding of the challenges of rural and small business faced daily. It is my belief local government experience and tertiary qualification in commerce, business and a Master of Business from the University of South Australia, together with my small business and rural background, I'd like to be and make a qualified and worthy candidate for the position of councillor. I look forward to joining the team and facing the daily challenges that you all do. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you well in your deliberations this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Phil. Our next candidate is, again, just hold fire, Wendy, is again via video, and we'll just confirm that sound is up as high as it can possibly be to get the best measure. So Norman Garsden is our next nominee, councillors, via video.
Good afternoon. My name is Norm Garsden, although some people do call me Tony, and I'm honoured to be considered as a candidate for councillor. Allow me to share a bit about myself and why I believe I'm well suited to this role. Local government is more than a job, it's a legacy. For over 130 years, discussion around local government has echoed around the Garsden households. My grandfather proudly served as an alderman and later became mayor of South Brisbane, whilst my father dedicated 49 years of his life to Brisbane City Council. You can see that local government service runs deep in my family. I bring to council a wealth of personal experience garnered from the last 42 years. For 18 of those years, I served as a CEO, and that provided me with invaluable insights in the inner workings of councils. In my time, I've attended over 600 council meetings and consider this to be a great preparation for this role. I hold not only a business degree, but qualifications in planning, local government management, public policy and governance. I've called the Toowoomba region home for 36 years, and it's a place that continually calls me back. After retiring from full-time work in October last year, I have a desire to dedicate my time and energy to serving this community further. If selected as councillor, my agenda will be straightforward: to support the new mayor and leadership team at council and collaborate on developing a plan to guide our council for the next 5 years. My vision for this plan is to focus on a sustainable future, with particular emphasis on affordable housing, reducing homelessness, and resource sustainability. These challenges affect our council and community, and I'm committed to finding effective solutions. In conclusion, I bring a wealth of local government experience, a strong educational background, and
Thank you, Norman, or Tony, as he's often referred to as, according to his message. Our next nominee is Andrew Reason. Andrew, welcome to you. I say you've changed since the last time you were in the chamber watching a committee meeting, but it might have been the hair, I'm not sure, but definitely. Andrew, welcome to you. Andrew, I'll repeat this, and I'll repeat it only once more because the rest of the candidates are here. Your timing will start when you start speaking. You'll hear one gavel at the 1 minute 30 and two at the 2 minute mark, at which point you'll stop. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you. G'day everyone, my name's Andrew Reason. I was raised in Marindan and now own a house in Harleston with my family. So I spent my career working in manufacturing and engineering, and for the last 5 years I've run my own business as a leather worker. So my experience is in technical areas like that, but my passion is in community work. It started when my first son was born in 2020, so I had to sit down and think about the kind of impact I was having on the world and really what kind of world I was going to leave for my boys. I decided I didn't want to spend my life sitting around complaining, and instead I would actually do something to try and help. I see politics as a way of creating change on a larger scale that I can achieve on my own. So I've lived in Harleston for about 3 years now, and though it's a great community, there is a lot of need. Needs that aren't unique to Harleston, but they're just visible to me because they directly affect my neighbours. As I've become more involved with community, I've realised how much of our everyday lives are affected by local government and how much potential it has to improve things for a great number of people. For example, a few months ago I was out door knocking for a community project I was a part of, and I had an interaction that showed me how much of an impact an area like urban planning has on everyday life. So I met one of my neighbours named Joan. She's 80 years old, lives on her own, and because of age and physical health can no longer drive. And so without a car, she struggles to do basic errands, struggles to take part in the community and attend social things, and so she's now finding herself isolated, all because of decisions made in this building 50 years ago. Through no fault of her own, she's been pushed to the margins. This interaction galvanised my decision to run for council. It's not fair that anyone should miss out because of circumstances beyond their control. And as this region grows, I want to ensure that considerations are made for everyone. I want everyone to have a chance to thrive here, regardless of age, wealth, disability, or anything else. I want to build a better world for my sons. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Andrew. I appreciate that. So, Yusuf, now you are up. Yusuf, good on you. Welcome to you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for this opportunity to address you today. My name is Yusuf Romiye, and I'm very happy to be a citizen in this great country and a homeowner in this beautiful Toowoomba. So I grew up and was university educated in Syria. My profession in Syria was as a chemist, and I worked in several Middle Eastern countries before the war in that region. So my family are from the minority Christian church in Syria, and we raised to respect all the other groups that make up that part of the world. English is my fourth language, and I'm also quite competent in the Kurdish Kurmanji language, which is the main language for the large community Yazidi here in Toowoomba. So I worked as interpreter in Catholic Care for Social Services and in Toowoomba Birth Hospital as well. I'm a community leader for more than 800 families here in Toowoomba, and currently I'm the president of Oz Harmony Inc., which seeks to integrate and value add to this city. So what can I bring for this role as a councillor? I have a strong connection with all multicultural communities here in Toowoomba, and we worked tirelessly to help them accessing medical help, housing, employment, and education. I can help Toowoomba Regional Council to improve the life here for the people who was live here or people who was born here, the First Nation people, and all the newcomers that are coming from all the world. I have a medical and business background, which will be help me to add to the work in this council. So why I'm seeking to be a councillor? Because I want to strengthen the connection between all the communities here.
Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you.
Cheers.
And
Thanks.
thank you for what you're doing in the community as well. Very much indeed. Councillors, our final nominee is Jane Summers. So welcome, Jane, to the lectern. Jane, you've heard the rules of play. Once you start speaking, we'll start the time. 1 minute 30 and then at the 2 minute mark. Thank you, Jane. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Deputy Mayor and councillors. Thank you for this opportunity to present myself as a candidate. My name is Jane Summers. I'm a long-term resident of this community, Emeritus Professor of UniSQ and past Chair of Southern Queensland Country Tourism. Today I will present 3 reasons why selecting me to fill this position would bring immediate and effective results for the team and for the community. Firstly, having spent 28 years in senior academic roles at the University of Southern Queensland, I've demonstrated that I thrive in complex situations, mastering the art of navigating diverse challenges and finding innovative solutions. I'm no stranger to governance, having served on multiple boards, honing my skills in ethical decision-making, strategic planning and collaborative leadership. Secondly, in preparation for this role, I've taken the time to familiarise myself with the responsibilities and expectations of councillors. I've read the Code of Conduct for Councillors, reviewed the strategic plan and successfully completed the So You Want to Be a Councillor online training. This demonstrates my commitment to serving with the highest ethical standards and my motivation to embrace this role as a serious contender. Thirdly and finally, what truly sets me apart is my deeply rooted commitment to inclusivity and collaboration. While I possess strong strategic and financial skills, I believe in harnessing these to facilitate input from multiple voices. My approach is one of unity and partnership, fostering a sense of belonging and engagement. My commitment to professionalism and integrity in my communications with media, the community and my colleagues is important to building trust. In conclusion, I offer a unique blend of strategic thinking, governance, expertise, commitment to inclusivity and the highest standards of commitment and professionalism. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. Councillors, that concludes the 23 nominees. And again, I'm sure you will all agree, we're so grateful in our community that we have 23 nominees putting themselves forward for the benefit of our community. So thank you to every one of the nominees. Thank you very much indeed. Some wonderful stories of community involvement out of all of them. Councillors, there's now time to turn your minds. You can preferential vote 1, 2, or you can optional vote 1 only on your ballot. Anything less than that will be deemed informal. Anything more than 1 and 2 will be deemed informal. At the conclusion of that, if you wouldn't mind folding your sheets, and the ballot box will come around with the CEO. We'll come around and just slot your ballots in there. Once that's concluded, councillors, I propose that we do adjourn for a moment until those ballots are read. While that is happening, that will take place in the live stream. So the ballot sheets will be taken out. Both Michael and Brendan will take place. That will be still live streamed, but we'll adjourn, and it may give you an opportunity to thank those that have nominated and put themselves forward as well. Councillors, once that's done, the CEO is coming around to do that. So nominees, you're more than happy to stay in the room, but don't come more forward than the tables where you are. This is being live streamed as well, and councillors will do the same. We'll stay away from the front of the tables where that'll be taking place. Just 1 minute. We've got one councillor still to cast a vote, so we'll just... You're okay, Bill. Don't feel pressure at all. Councillors, the motion is that we adjourn. I'm happy for someone to move this. Adjourn until a point at which a candidate would be known to be the councillor. And I've someone to move an adjournment. Moved by Councillor Nancy, seconded by Councillor Carroll. Those in favour? That motion's carried. Same rules. Councillors, if you could resume to your seats, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's very quiet. Thank you for that. And can I say it was good to catch up with many of the nominees, so thank you for that. Councillors, we find ourselves in a position of being able to go to a second round of voting by way of candidates who've received more than one vote, and therefore the list will be coming up before you. Wendy will put up, and the ballot papers will be distributed. The voting rules are the same: optional preferential, 1 and 2. So everything else is exactly the same. Councillors, the CEO would just like to explain something before we proceed further.
Just to clarify, I think you said one or more. It should be one or more votes. Anyone who didn't receive a vote is excluded. We'll go to the second round. The names of the persons that you'll be voting on will be put on the screen so that you can vote that. I'll distribute the same ballot sheets, but you can only vote numbers 1 or 2, or 1 and 2 against only those names that are on the screen at this point in time. So we'll distribute the ballot papers. You can take your vote and we'll collect them, and we'll do a count based on the remaining candidates at this point.
So, councillors, and the beauty of the nominees, no further 2 minutes are required. As much as you'd like it, I'm sure. And it means that I don't have to hit the gavel at least 65 times, which I'm very happy about. I think it's the most the gavel has been used in at least 12 years. Councillor Carroll, it's probably been, I don't know. Have you? Okay. It's a record number this afternoon. And apologies, there's no other better way to do that. So, councillors, the ballot papers are distributed. Please take your time with this, and if you need to cross those off that aren't on the list, then do that. It's optional preferential voting, 1 or 1 and 2. Following that, we will then adjourn for a moment to go through the next phase. So it's optional preferential, 1 or 1 and 2. If nothing, it demonstrates the very strong interest the councillors have on ensuring that we do our best to appoint the next councillor. So please take your time, councillors. When you are ready, put your ballot papers in the air, and the CEO will collect. Beg your pardon, Councillor McMahon?
They're the same colour, so do we make sure they're not mixed with the... Well, they said good.
Can you just bring those, CEO, can you bring those up here, please, those, and we'll just put them over on the table that you're sitting on, so that we can ensure that they're completely out of sight, out of mind for the time being. Thanks, Councillor McMahon.
Excuse me, Mayor,
Councillor Rebecca.
did you want to read out that list because people who are watching the live stream wouldn't know the names of the people, or maybe they do, Wendy.
Yeah,
Can
so
they see?
Wendy's got this on live stream at the moment, but it is a good point, and I'm happy to read those out for clarity. So the names of nominees going to the second round: Ekraj Adhikari, Douglas Allen, Edwina Farquhar, Penelope Houlihan, Scott McPhee, Joyce Mingay, Brett Mullen, Yusuf Ramia, Michaela Smith, and Jane Summers. That is, it's on the live stream as well. Thanks. So, councillors, we move to adjourn again until voting is finished. We didn't actually reinstate, to be honest, but we're still, yeah, okay. So let's just have another break, and once we're notified, we'll come and get you again. So thank you. We have moved by Councillor Rebecca, seconded by Councillor Nancy. Those in favour? That motion's carried unanimously. Councillors, there we go. Councillors, if you could resume your seats, please, councillors. Sorry to interrupt such a jovial afternoon, to be honest, but thank you very much indeed, councillors. Now, councillors, we are moving to a third round of votes, and the third round will exclude those with one vote or less. So those that receive 2 votes or more go to this next round, okay, which is the third round of votings. And Wendy, if you could put those up, and then they'll go live as well. So in the third round, Ekraj Adhikari, Douglas Allen, Edwina Farquhar, Scott McPhee and Joyce Mingay. Now, councillors, this ballot paper will be the colour of yellow and will be distributed to you by the CEO. Keep in mind those names are the only names that you place a 1 or a 1 and 2 next to. Optional preferential voting. Either a 1 or a 1 and 2, and only those names. Those in the gallery and waiting, thank you very much for your patience, and those that have been eliminated to this point, thank you very much indeed for putting yourselves forward. Those that are in still, feel free to grab or all of you can feel free to grab a cup of tea or coffee that's out in the foyer area as well. Councillors, the story is the same. We'll cast our votes and then make that vote available for the CEO to collect. We'll then adjourn for a period of time at which those votes will be counted. Thank you, CEO. The rules of voting are exactly the same as the last 2. Optional preferential. You vote for 1 or vote for 1 and 2. No change. Beg your pardon, Councillor McMahon?
I'm just wondering, the counting, is that shorter or more complex with less people, or do we need to adjourn?
Well, there's less people, Councillor McMahon, but given the great conversations that's been had in the adjournment, I wouldn't like to be interrupting that, and I'd like to encourage it, to be honest. But I'm in your hands, councillors. If you prefer not to adjourn, I think it's a pregnant pause or what have you that we'd rather not have, and why don't we have a chat with those that are here? Happy with that? Thank you. So moved by Councillor McMahon to adjourn. I have a second. Seconded by Councillor Nancy. Those in favour? Those against? That's fine. Motion's carried. We'll adjourn. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the meeting of the appointment of a new councillor for Toowoomba Regional Council through to the next biennial election, March 16 next year. We are going to another round, which will be round 4. Round 4, those candidates who receive 2 or less votes will be eliminated. And therefore, Wendy will put those that are still in their 2 or less will be eliminated. Those left include Ekraj Adhikari, Edwina Farquhar, Scott McPhee and Joyce Mingay. Councillors, this is the 4th round. Your ballot paper will be the colour of white. Take your time. There are only 4 candidates left in which to vote, either a 1 or a 1 and 2. Optional preferential. The CEO is distributing those ballot papers now. Cast your votes, fold them, put them in the air, they'll be collected, and our scrutineers will continue on their fine work. Again, thank you for those that have now been excluded from the ballots. Thank you very much for putting yourselves forward. This is the 4th round to appoint the next councillor. Thanks, Brian. We'll just keep it pretty quiet, please, folks, while the ballot papers are being finalised and collected. And then we'll again, I'll ask for those that would like to, we'll have an adjournment till a decision is then put forward. Have someone move to adjourn the meeting for a moment? Moved by Councillor Rebecca, seconded by Councillor Carl. Those in favour? Motion's carried. We'll resume as soon as we possibly can. Good afternoon again, councillors and those in the gallery, those watching online. Appreciate your patience as we work through this very important decision for Toowoomba Regional Council, the appointment of a councillor to fill a vacancy for the next while until the next quadrennial election, 16th of March next year. Councillors, there's some exciting news. We're going to a 5th round. And this is democracy at work. So we're going to a 5th round. Those who received 3 or less votes have been eliminated, and therefore the candidates remaining for the ballot sheet are Edwina Farquhar and Joyce Mingay. The ballot sheets will be in blue in colour. Again, you have optional preferential voting, 1 or a 1 and 2. There are only 2 candidates, councillors. Brian, could you distribute the ballot papers, please? Thank you. Again, thank you to those who aren't appearing on this ballot paper for the 5th round. Once you've cast your vote, councillors, please put it in there ready for the CEO to collect. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, CEO. Councillors, I think still someone would like to move to adjourn. Thank you, Councillor Melissa. Councillor Rebecca, those in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you, scrutineers. Councillors and those present, both in the room and watching online, there has been a decision by way of ballot. In order to move forward, we move to motion number 3, which is to reinstate the standing orders of council. So moved by Councillor Rebecca, seconded by Councillor Carroll. Those in favour? The motion's carried unanimously. Councillors, we move to item number 4, or motion number 4. Motion number 4 will be as follows, and Wendy, if you would be so kind as to put motion number 4 up on the screen. Motion number 4 is that just by way of procedure, councillors, noting by the way you've showed strong acclamation there, I guess it may be formality, but we do have a process to go through here, and that is the motion that's before you. Before we do vote on that, though, councillors, I'm sure you will all join with me in once again thanking the 23 candidates and nominees. I'm sure all councillors did the same as I and took note of every word that was said. The theme was a love of community. The theme was that you're here for the community, and that's exactly why people get elected and represent their community. So thank you to all 23, not only as the individuals, but those around you have supported you to come forward and put yourselves at that point. The councillors, the motion is before us. Before I do that, can I thank councillors as well? Seriously, this is a process we had to work through. I appreciate it. The council appoint Edwina Farquhar to fill the vacant councillor position. Moved by Councillor Rebecca, seconded by Councillor Carroll. Those in favour? That motion is carried unanimously. Now, councillors, you can now applaud. So that does conclude the item of business this afternoon. The councillor will be sworn in tomorrow after the committee meeting of council. Edwina, we'd hate for you to be reading 1,000 pages tonight before tomorrow. That'll take place tomorrow. But councillors, I'd also like to acknowledge the roles played this afternoon of Wendy. Thank you, Wendy, very much indeed. This is new. CEO Brian, thank you very much. The returning officer, and Michael Duff and Brendan Steiner. Thank you both very much indeed. Councillors, that concludes the meeting proper. I'd ask Edwina if you'd like to join us for a photograph after the meeting, and thank you again, everyone, for this afternoon. Good afternoon.